of you, Jonathan, you've maintained the same stance about the powers of the president in a state of emergency. But what makes this unique is the fact that in declaring a state of emergency, the governor is a party in the crisis. So taking him out of the equation is an explanation I'm being given to this, that he became an onlooker and did not do anything. Mr. Falana.
Well, I'm not really interested in the politics of this matter, but in the relevant provisions of the Constitution. I was making the point that there are 320 sections of the Constitution. Nowhere is the president empowered to remove the governor of a state or suspend the governor of a state, suspend the deputy governor of a state, suspend the legislators in a state. Incidentally, the current administration, the current Bola Tinubu administration, sued the 36 state governors last year, or state government, over the removal of the dissolution of elected local government councils and replacement with sole administrators or caretaker committees. The Supreme Court, 7 justices unanimously held on that point that it is illegal and unconstitutional to remove, by governors to remove elected chairmen and councillors. It stands to reason that the president of the republic cannot remove an elected governor or suspend legislature. It is stated in Section 11 of Section 4, for the avoidance of doubt, that even when the National Assembly takes over the legislative functions of a state to make laws because the House of Assembly is unable to see, it is stated there that provided that the governor and the deputy governor shall not be removed from office. So, I mean, you can only remove a governor by, or suspend a governor either on ground that is indisposed. If a governor resigns, he can be removed. If he dies in office, the office becomes vacant.
But Mr. Falana, have you also thought about the lacuna or the silence that the Constitution has placed in the case of a state of emergency? And if you look at it, just like Honorable Bob posited earlier, that in a state of emergency, it leaves like an omnibus duty upon the president to be able to ensure that order is restored in the territory where there is crisis, which allows him, of course, because the reason is that the governor is seen as a party in the issue and is being accused of being an onlooker when this violence was happening.
You see, Sean, in the case of Plateau State, President Obasanjo accused Governor Dari of not taking appropriate steps. Before then, President Obasanjo warned that he was going to impose a state of emergency on Lagos in the year 2000. Governor Tinubu, as it then was, came out to warn the president that he will not be allowed in Lagos and that Nigeria will not be, I mean, democracy should not be derailed in our country. In 2013, because of insurgency in the Northeast, President Jonathan imposed a state of emergency on 3 states, Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. He was under pressure by anti-democratic forces. Remove the governors. And some of us came out to say, Mr. President, it is not permissible under the Constitution. And we challenge the people who are asking you to remove governors to point out the section. They refer to Section 305. Section 305 empowers the president to adopt extraordinary measures to restore a state, law and order, either in a state or in the entire federation. Are you suggesting that if a state of emergency is declared on the federation, pursuant to Section 305, will the National Assembly remove the president or the president will remove himself? So please, it happened even in 2021. The then Attorney General, Mr. Abubakar Malami, announced that the federal government was going to impose a state of emergency on Anambra State. And that means they will remove the governor. We came out to say no, the president does not have such powers. And in fairness to President Muhammadu Buhari, he never did that. In 2013.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Mr. Falana. Is there a governor in Rivers State in the eye of the law as of now?
Of course, they claim that he has been suspended, not that he has been removed or impeached. Is the governor purportedly suspended? We are saying there is no law that allows a suspension of an elected officer, just like the National Assembly. The courts, not less than 10 judgments, have said you cannot suspend the legislator. When you do that, you are denying the constituency representation, either in the National Assembly or in a status of assembly. I'm talking of decided cases. I'm talking of the law.
In all of this, Mr. Falana, the administrator, Vice Admiral Ibas, will be resuming duty. He's been sworn in. He's taking oath of office. And he's been given the powers and the standing instruction to restore peace and order in Rivers State. Can there be two leaders in that state? Is there a constitutional crisis in Rivers State? Or what exactly do you think this is leading us?
So the administrator does not have the control of the forces of coercion in Nigeria. It is the president that is empowered by the constitution to restore law and order in any part of the country. The governor doesn't have the power. Talk less of a sole administrator whose appointment is unknown to the constitution. He said he took an oath under what section of the constitution? The man said, I'm taking an oath under the constitution. Were you appointed by the constitution? Were you elected by the constitution? Please, let's not politicize what is clearly a legal matter. If we are not careful, what stops the president from saying, oh, there is crisis in the southwest or in the entire southeast? Because of his
but for you as a senior lawyer, Mr. Falana, as a lawyer, yes, what are the available remedies to be able to fix what you've said is a contravention of the Constitution?
The available remedies in any democratic society is the law court. Unfortunately, on 2 occasions, the Supreme Court refused to pronounce on the legality or the constitutional validity of the suspension of governors. In the case of Plateau State, in the case of Ekiti, the Supreme Court held that the attorneys general that sued to challenge the constitutional, the aberration, did not have the local standard. In other words, they were not authorized by the sole administrator. How could the sole administrators have instructed them to go to court? But this time around, those who are affected, those who have been removed or suspended from office illegally, have the right to approach the court for legal redress.
But Mr. Falana, this is not a removal actually. It's a suspension. It means that it's in the exercise of the state of emergency as has been empowered by the Constitution on the president.
No, Sheung, there is no provision in Section 305 that allows the president to remove or suspend the governor. What it requires, and what that section says, it shall adopt extraordinary measures, which will mean increasing the security in the state.
But that's an interpretation of it, Mr. Falana, isn't it? That's an omnibus position that the law has taken, isn't it? The law has taken an omnibus position to say it shall take an extraordinary measure. Can't the parties who are in support of the declaration of the state of emergency say, my Lord, when they get to court to say, look, part of the extraordinary measure is also to suspend the governor, since the law did not say whether or not the governor shall be suspended.
So, there is a state of emergency has been posed on Rivers. Does that empower the president to remove or to suspend the governor, the chief judge of a state, or judges in that state without going through the NJC? Please, Section 11 of Section 4 says, even when the National Assembly, as in this case, if the sole administrator wants to pass the budget of that state now, he will have to go to the National Assembly. But that section says, on no ground shall the governor of a state, the deputy governor of a state be removed.
Now, let me allow Honorable Bob quickly to give me his final thoughts. Honorable.
Okay, thank you, Sean. See, just to reinforce my points earlier, that the president's powers, to remove the governor, the deputy, and to suspend the governor, the deputy, and members of the assembly, flows from his powers, emergency powers under Section 305, C and D. Now, those 2 paragraphs talk about extraordinary measures. I think the point of these 2 words, the significance is lost on the senior advocates. These are the key words, If now this country was at war, for instance, there will be no National Assembly. okay, we too will be suspended. Okay, you cannot extend emergency powers, and anyone says that all rights that endure in normal circumstances also apply. No, that's not how it works. He has invoked his powers given to him by that section, and now it is within his own.
So invariably, anybody that the president does not like his face can impose state of emergency and remove
that's not the point. That's not the point. You cannot downplay the seriousness of the situation that happened in Rivers State in the last 1 year, 6 months. You can't downplay that. What has happened in Rivers State has never happened anywhere in this country, where the governor and the House has done for this long, and governor has started to real extreme measures, okay, to prosecute his case. So it's a party complicit in the whole thing. Okay, the House Assembly won't let him because he has dug in as well. So in the second time, what will you do?
All right. Let me allow Mr. Falano. Mr. Falano, we have just 3 seconds to go. Your final thought, Mr. Falano.
Yes, so the Constitution has set out, stipulated the conditions under which the office of a governor may be declared vacant, either temporarily or permanently. We say in law, the express mention of one thing is the exclusion of another. There is no provision in the Constitution for the suspension of a governor. A governor may be removed from office on grounds of ill health, if he dies in office, if he's impeached, or if he resigns. And those are the conditions under which a governor can do secede, whether temporarily by way of suspension or removal by impeachment or whatever. Once those conditions are set out, you cannot go to Section 305 and read into it what is not there. The express mention of those conditions is the exclusion of any other suspension. Now, I am saying there are decisions of the court on this matter. If a governor cannot remove an elected chairman or councillor of a local government set by the Supreme Court, can the president remove an elected? So the last one is that I'm happy we're saying that Section 305 allows the president to declare a state of emergency in the entire federation if the country is at war. Now, who is going to prosecute the war? Will the president resign, or I hereby remove myself?
All right, Mr. Falano.
Has been elected by the entirety of the Nigerian electorate. So there's no provision.
Right.
President Bola Tinubu hit against it in Lagos in 2013. He warned President Jonathan not to remove governors in the northeast region. The law, as it was yesterday, is the same law today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Falano.
Action is illegal.
Mr. Falano, thank you so much, Honorable.